Hello, strangers. Stranger Worlds Unlimited. I'm your host, Fred Strange, and this is Ethereal, or Would You Rather. So let's, that was something I already done here, so let's see what we got there. Okay, would you rather get caught cheating or catch your partner cheating? Yeah. Well, you'd rather catch somebody. I'd rather neither, but you'd rather catch somebody than be the one that's being caught, right? So, because that way you're not at fault, right? Okay, I was about to say. Yeah, in the majority on that one. Okay. Next. Start your own business, which is doomed to fail. Work for other people at low salaries. Oh, jeez, Louise. Start your own business, which is doomed to fail. Work for other people at low salaries. Well, you know, insofar as I have my own YouTube channel, and insofar as that can be considered a business, and insofar as I'm getting absolutely no views on this channel, I think I've already done this. So I've started my own business, and so far it's failing. So until, and I've actually done this too. So, well, steady income's better than no income at all. Yeah, that's about toss-up there, yeah, huh? Would you rather not be able to feel any pain or have extremely bit of not feel pain? I like not feeling pain. Yeah. That's not even a choice. Now, if you don't feel pain, you don't realize that you're hurt. And, you know, that could create other problems. You don't realize that you're in bad shape. You know, you could be in worse shape than I've got a cut, Okay, well, I don't feel the pain. I don't feel a headache. Well, that headache could turn into something that could kill you, but you don't feel the pain, so you don't realize that you're going to die. So, I mean, that's the drawback. But versus brittle bones, no. That's not a choice. Have a baby boy or have a baby girl. Oh, my. Wow. Is there a skip? Can I skip this one? Oh, my. I've got a girl already. Let's do a boy just because I've already got a girl. And I like, I've got a daughter. Would like to have had a son. I wanted one of each. But circumstances basically made sure that my daughter was the only child. So, I'd be perfectly happy with if I had another child. I'd be perfectly happy to have I'd be perfectly happy to have a house full of a house full of girls. No, I'd like at least one son. Being the only male in a house full of girls. I'm sure there's fathers out there that can totally sympathize where I'm coming from here. But there's drawbacks to that. It's like I want at least one son. So I'd like one of I would have liked I wanted at least two. I wanted one of each. So if I were to have a second child, boy. But I'd be happy with either. It's just being the only male in a house full of women. Then I sort of same can be said for being the only woman. I mean, my mother was the only woman in a house full of boys. My dad, my brother, and myself. So she was quite happy when A, I got married, and B, had a daughter. So it's like, girl, I can dress up. So let's see. Have a nail hammered through every joint in each of your fingers, or have the famous Starry Night slowly carved into your back with a knife? Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, at least it's art. Can I get that? Can I get that? I don't feel pain thing from earlier. only, only if I. Die slowly but not much pain. Die fast with a lot of pain. Yeah, I don't like pain. So, you know, if I don't feel pain, dying slowly. I mean, I'm effectively doing that now, right? Life is a slow death, right? Life is a terminal disease. All right, we're all not, we're not going to be here forever, and it's just a matter of, how much time do we each have. And so, if I know that this is, if I know the date, it's going to be a long, slowly over a long period of time, but not much pain. I'll deal with that. That just okay. I mean, I'd like to die fast, but not with a lot of pain. I wouldn't necessarily want to go out that way. Die fast with no pain, even better. Let's see. If you had to live in the classic era for music, would you rather 90s America or 70s Britain? Ooh, 90s America. Only because I lived through it. I'm 44, so I've already lived through this. This is somebody who's been born recently, and whoever wrote Chris Bosh obviously was not born in the 90s or doesn't remember much about the 90s. So I'd rather because 70s music out of Britain. I mean, you had some things. You had, the Rolling Stones kind of made a resurgence. You had Led Zeppelin, kind of all through there. You had, Pink Floyd. So I mean, there's a lot of good music that came through through the 70s, and a lot of it still, you're still riding a lot of the British invasion wave started by the Beatles and stuff in the 60s. But yeah, beyond that, beyond those few things, there's not really a whole lot that I would have. There's not a whole lot that I listened to per se out of the 70s. Very little that comes out of Britain. I mean, you still got Motown, and you still got the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson. You still got a lot. You got a lot of stuff that came out during the 70s, but a lot of it came from America. So yeah, I'll do this one. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of crap in the 70s too. There's a whole bunch of crap in the 70s. The 70s is kind of a transition period from the 50s and 60s, rock and roll, and then you had a whole bunch of experimentation in the late 60s. Then all that experimentation kind of, solidified into this and into that, into this genre and that genre. You kind of had the Motown thing kind of warp into disco. And then there's just, and then you had these pockets that kind of separated out. If you're to think of 50s rock and roll, that kind of morphed a little bit with, it blew up with, here's a little history, and then maybe I'll do one more and that'll be it. If you think about rock and roll in the 50s, started by all the black performers, Fats Domino and Little Richard and oh boy, who just BB King and oh boy, who is the one that just passed away lately? Oh damn, Bo Diddley and oh damn, there's who just passed away recently, guitarist. His name is failing me. Chuck Berry. There we go. Chuck Berry, and then you start with that. You get people like Elvis and Buddy Holly to kind of take that. I wouldn't necessarily say refine it, but at least make it marketable to the black. You still had a lot of the black versus white. A lot of black artists wouldn't get played on white radio stations, but then you get Elvis Presley and Buddy Holly and Bill Haley and all those people taking that black music and putting it onto white radio. Or at least, and then therefore kind of making it acceptable such that the white audiences will go now start seeking out the black audiences, the music makers. So they had all of that kind of really gel and solidify during the 50s. Later 50s, it kind of started to fall apart and become commercialized and whatever. And then the Beatles came on, flipped it, changed it. And then that re-solidified everything. And then you had Motown coming around the same time and really solidified that. And then you basically had this big core of rock and roll, what rock and roll was. And then it started, towards the later 60s, it started experimenting. The Beatles started experimenting. You started getting all these other, punk bands and all the drugs came into the effect and started basically breaking rock up into its little, respective parts. Heavy metal and punk and, kind of a mainstream pop rock, Motown. And then, in the 70s, you had all those kind of splitting off, and then it got kind of surrounded by this just morass of, Motown kind of turned into disco. So it morphed, it pull away. It's like one big cell, it just starts suddenly splitting. But then you still have all the other, it's still all part of the one big cell, and so you have what's around all the little core pieces. It's just this morass of in the 70s. And then all that changed. And, in British, there's a lot of good things that came out of this era. A lot of really good classic stuff that came out of this area, but in general, there's just a lot of you got to swim through a lot of the in order to find those gems that were in here. Whereas a lot of this was once Nirvana came and kind of flipped the paradigm of what music was, then you really had it kind of solidified a little bit better. The rap scene went a little crazy. That's the only thing is that the rap music changed in my opinion not for the better during the 90s as what it was in the 80s. 80s was kind of happy, whereas in the 90s it became angry. So yeah. Anyway, so that's that. Let's do one more history lesson for you, right? Let's see. Listen to only old Broadway musical songs or listen only to Christmas music. Boy, you do 44 years of Christmas music, you kind of get sick of it. I'll do the Broadway music stuff. I can actually deal with that a little bit better. And there's a lot of that stuff out there, and it's very diverse. So, you can get a wide range of everything from the 20s and 30s all the way up to modern stuff, Rent and whatever. So you can get a lot of really good. There's a lot of really good Broadway stuff, that spans a whole bunch of genres over a long stretch of time. Which, Christmas music, you get three choices with Christmas music. You get kind of church music, classical stuff, pre-20th century classical, ranging all the way from Bach all the way up to, the 20th century. So you get that kind of, what you can kind of determine as church music, because a lot of it was written in church, especially Christmas music was written in and for the church. Then you get towards the 30s and 40s, you get a lot of Christmas music written in that big band style, and it's a slight change on the church music, as it were. It's a little bit more secular. It's a lot more secular in many cases. But White Christmas. You're not discussing the religion. You're not discussing Jesus and all that sort of stuff. But it still kind of harkens back to the old stuff. So to my opinion, it sounds really good. Here we go on another Christmas thing. And then the third one is kind of rock and roll Christmas, rocking around the Christmas tree, and stuff. And some people are going to disagree, but I don't like rock and roll mixed with Christmas music. It's just never been a combination that has really gelled with me. I could cite maybe one example of a time where a rock and roll tune was actually rock and roll Christmas tune was actually decent. Which I think probably was Mariah Carey and even that song kind of harkens back to it's rock and roll, it's kind of pop, but it's got all of the classic building blocks there that you'd find back in the 40s when you had White Christmas and all that being made. So I can't no other Christmas song written in the past 50 years comes close to it comes to mind that comes close that I've and not even written. I've heard classic stuff done in a rock and roll style. It's like no, there's one thing that gets in a rotation during Christmas on one of the radio stations I listen to is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, written as performed by Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Can't stand it. My opinion, your mileage may vary, and you're welcome to it, but I can't stand it. I turn the radio off. Whenever that, I really don't listen to rock radio during Christmas season because I can't stand that song coming on, and a lot of others that come on along with it. Rock and roll and Christmas just do not blend for me. I'm too much of a traditionalist. But that's it. So there we go. There's a little bit of music history. There's a lot of my opinion. So take it for what you will. If you happen to like this, like my opinion, like the game, like everything about this, go ahead, hit that like button. If you're not, I guess you're thumbing down. Either that or just go watch something else. But if you like this, hit that like button. And if you want more, subscribe for more. And check out my other links down below, my social media, my Patreon page, so you can help this channel grow. Give me some new games. Give me some better equipment. Help make this just generally better. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay strange. Bye-bye.